content, what you're going to be talking about. Your subject is definitely most important. On the scripting level, I think they could have definitely done better.
Give us a brief on how you select entries. How do you go about it?
Well, the Academy does not select entries. Actually, we're not judging. We would not pretend that we know what is the best. There are professionals around the world who actually are making programs, and they're the ones who know what's good. They're the producers, the networks, the head of acquisitions. So all these people are the ones that we're basically asking to participate as jurors. Actors, writers, directors, and they are the ones telling us which programs should make it to the final round, should be recognized. The only thing that the Academy does is just making sure that the programs follow the rules. So we double check everything for dates, for times, for information, to make sure that the jurors have the right information that to use to judge the programs. And that's basically the only thing that we're making sure of, like technical things. If there's sound, there's image, there's a subtitle, you're good.
And have you watched any Indian shows till now? You've come to India, have you watched any Indian shows?
Not yet, but tonight I'll watch television, that's for sure. I arrived very late, so I didn't have time yet to watch television. But I will screen. I will make sure that the programs that are on television make it to the competition next year.
And I hope you like this. So Anita, tell us about your experience of judging.
Well, I think I've done this now for the last almost 3 years. We get to see a lot of rich content. I've now done various genres of content, so it's not only one that one attempts to see. We also get to be exposed to a whole lot of content outside of India, and what is really working, what is not. It's a very interesting, sort of exposure to television you would not see, anywhere. Obviously, we're not attracting into, other than the big shows which internationally everybody knows about, or some of them which have been adapted to India. You don't get to, be exposed to them. I think that's the most interesting part of being as one of the jury members of the show. You get to see a whole lot of programs.
So Divyanka, tell us about your experience of judging.
It's definitely a wonderful experience. The reason being, being an actor, I actually love watching the world cinema and the television across the world. And this is a good experience for me too, because I'm judging as well as I'm learning. Also, I come to know about a lot of things, like when you're watching world cinema or world-class acting, you come to know that at times there's a regional influence on your work, and especially when it comes to comedy. Generally people say that comedy crosses all boundaries, but now I'm realizing that no, actually it does get influenced by region, and that's what I'm observing over here. So it's really difficult, because here I'm watching different kinds of comedy. Some is satire, other one is a sitcom kind of comedy, a family comedy. So it's a great learning experience for me altogether.
So do you miss Indian shows? Indian comedy shows?
Of course, I want to see Indian comedy shows in here, because after seeing all these shows, I realized that Indian comedy is no lesser. We actually produce very good shows in India, and I have been part of many of them, and I've been growing up watching many of them. So I actually wish that our Indian producers get aware of Emmy Awards and they send in entries. And thanks to IndianTelevision.com, now we are getting aware of International EMMY Awards, and I wish that soon they do send in entries for this.
And how is it feeling to finally become a juror from an actor?
Well, I've done this before as well. I've done this earlier. But, even while you're a juror, I always find myself learning. I've done this like twice or thrice earlier, but I always find myself observing people out there. Oh wow, okay, this is something new. This is old. This is repetitive. So while being a juror, I'm always learning as a person, as an actor. So it's always a good experience that way.
Actually, what actually you look forward when you're judging?
Frankly, when this is my personal this thing, when I'm judging, I'm just looking at as a viewer, not as a professional. So that's the main thing I keep in my mind, that I'm not a professional, I'm not a director or producer. I'm just looking at the content as like a viewer. So that's how I normally judge.
Since the judging has been divided into content and execution, what actually do you think holds important when you're making a show?
I think both are equally important. Both are really, really important, and this year it's a fantastic thing that they have divided, in two specific areas: content and production values. So it's very important, because when you design any show, concept is one part and production is, so both are really important. So it's good that it's separated this time, so you have a better assessment, better judgment on the content overall.
And what did you think about the entries you've seen so far?
See, I've seen 2 shows so far, and I'm like really blown. Like, it's super, it's fantastic. And this year we are whatever telenovela or comedy in the other room. So I was watching telenovela, so it was super.
So how you like the entries that you've watched, the 2 entries you've seen so far?
Yeah, we have been told not to really talk about it, but yeah, I'll still say we have seen 2 so far. We are watching the telenovela section, and very interesting. Both are set in a periodic field where, they're in the early 90s, early 2000s, early 1900s. So yeah, it's quite exciting. I just feel that we should also be able to contribute our content to Emmys in the year ahead. It's so far unfortunate that we have not been sending entries. In today's meeting, it was clear that we now know the entry dates, and we are briefed about it. So I just hope all our Indian producers, they send their content to the world stage and get appreciated for the kind of work that we all have been doing.
So Rajan, tell us about your judging experience here in EMMY.
Fortunately, I've always been a part of, whenever IndianTelevision.com or TeleChatpur or whatever, to be part of the jury. Even last year I was there for Delhi. So it's always very good, and in fact it's very educational to come and watch different programs. And this time it is an international platform, so watching good shows from all over the world. The telenovelas are brilliant. So it's a good experience, and you get to see good work, and you get to see good content of international quality.
Indian shows today have great content and also execution value. So why don't we see Indian shows in such platforms?
I think we today in India, not now, even since quite a few years, not only do we have very good concepts, we also do have, it's executed brilliantly. In fact, the kind of quality and the standards and the kind of, the production value, the technique which we utilize today in our series, we have the best which can compete with the best international kind of shows. But that is very surprising, because whenever I travel abroad or when I go abroad, the kind of a success and popularity I see of my shows like a Bidai or a Ye Rishta, or for a Kuch To Log Kahenge also for that matter, I wonder why we've never got a platform at Emmy. And I attribute this to the fact that we are not educated on that. And that is why I've liked this opportunity of being a part of it. And today when we had officials from Emmy telling us that it's a very simple process. So I guess we as makers are so busy churning out and making our software that we do not really concentrate on showcasing our work to the international market. And we basically rely on our broadcasters to do that for us. And but now attending today's event or whatever, I really realized that as makers we also need to have a say in the international market, and would convey this to our broadcasters too, that why shouldn't our shows, and especially when I travel internationally, I see that our Indian shows are not only hit with the NRIs there, but also with a lot of people from different countries and cultures. And somehow Indian television also has an idiom of its own, which is very rooted, which is very culturally very rich in emotions, and the technique and the production values which we use in our serials are, I think, in par with international standards.